Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my weekly reading update for May, is it the 21st? I think it's the 21st, 2023. So I did not have one last week. I was very sick. I'm assuming it was food poisoning, just because I didn't feel anything head-wise. It was all stomach and intestines, and I was throwing up and the other end as well. And it was not a fun 4 days. It was pretty much miserable. And I spent Wednesday the 10th is when I got sick. Right after I got, right around the time I got my ear tube, which again, that is all resolved now. So I can hear out of my right ear again, which is great. But then I was getting sick that day. I started feeling kind of bad at lunchtime. And then by the time I got home after the ear thing, I was kind of like, well, I still don't feel very good, and I didn't eat. And yeah, about 7 o'clock, I was throwing up. By 9 o'clock, other things were happening, and yeah, that was a really horrible night. Anyway, so anyway, I survived. It was all last week, or over a week ago now. I woke up though on Monday morning, and I was like a new person. It was the weirdest thing because I'd been sick for those 4 days and just miserable and horrible. And Sunday I was kind of feeling better, but I wasn't sure if my stomach was settled enough to go to work. But I woke up Monday morning and everything was great, so I went to work. And so this week was kind of like that, but I didn't read for any of that time. Wednesday I did read because I read earlier in the day on my breaks, and when I was starting to feel sick, and then when I was at the doctor's office I read a little bit, and then after that I stopped. I didn't read until I would say the night of Monday night. I didn't read anything at work until I got home because I was so busy, because I was backed up because I had lost 2 days at work. So there was a lot of stuff for me to do. Anyway, so my reading here, I'm going to talk about the last 2 weeks, since I did not put up a video last week. there was not happening. And I hadn't read a huge amount. Now I've read like a lot of things. I finished 8 things. I think that's what I said it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, eight things. And I'm in the middle of 5 things. Still, I still have some other things that are kind of on the back burner. I'm going to probably try to get to. June is usually a month where June and December is usually when I try to clean up all those books I started earlier in the year and I haven't finished. So I'm hoping to finish some stuff up then. So this is the end of May, so I still have over a week. So we'll see how much I can get done with what I'm reading. Because again, when you see what I've done a lot of series stuff in the last couple weeks, and I've done a lot of rereads. May has been my rereading month this year. That happens a lot of times. It's April or May. I, for some reason, just go into that kick, and I have continued or restarted series to continue and hopefully complete at some point. We'll see what happens. So anyway, so let's just get started. This is going to be a long video. You might need a drink or a snack. I don't know how long this is going to take because I have a lot of things to talk about. So, on, what did I say? Tuesday, the 9th, I finished Beyond Jealousy by Kit Rosha. I listened to this on audio, by Lucy Malone. And, this is book 4. Yes, book 4 in the Beyond series. So this is the 9-book series with a lot of novellas mixed in. You'll see more of them coming up. But this is a series that I read when it first came out. I got into it. And this was the last of the novels that I finished. I did have one more book that I will talk about here. That is a novella that I read to, because I got to 4.5 in the series, and then I had to wait for the next book. And then I think because I was in transition with a moving from California back to Oregon at the time, that I lost track of the series, and I kept buying them ebooks and audiobooks on some of them, but I didn't get to read them. And anyway, so book 4, we're following. This is the Throuple. This is one that we've been waiting for with Rachel Cruz and Ace. And these are dystopian, post-apocalyptic kind of erotica. But there's good world building in here. This is the world where all the technology, there's a certain part of the world was taken out due to, or this part of the world was taken out due to like some kind of a solar flare of some sort. And so this is like the aftermath of what happens when, with this city that is still running, because they were different from a lot of the other cities, in the country. And then so it's Eden, and then there's a lot of sectors that are around that are kind of more lawless, and there are 8 sectors, and so we're following sector 4 mostly, with the O'Kanes, and they are bootleggers, so they deal mostly in liquor, but they also deal with tattoos and a lot of sexual stuff. It's just great. This is very, very steamy. These are definitely, if you want different kinds of love, different kinds of interactions with people, I think it's really good. I love this series just because it builds, each book builds, of course, the story. It just, the stakes are getting higher, but then you also get in each book the love story of certain couples. And so again, this isn't the throuple that everybody, when we started this series, we knew this was coming and we wanted it. Anyway, so I remember I really enjoyed it last time. I really enjoyed it this time as well. I didn't remember parts of it, which again, it's been probably 8 or 9 years since I read it. So I was really good. I have to go back and look. I don't remember how long it's been. It's been a long time since I read these. So, but I did reread that one. So, and again, I did that by audio. And then on Tuesday, I was reading something else, but or maybe it was Monday night, it came through at like 9 o'clock at night, but my Amazon, it said I bought something on Amazon, digitally, and I'm like, what do I have that was coming out? Well, it was Grim and Barrett by Juliet Cross. This is book 6 in the Stay a Spell series. So this is the last book in this main series about the Savoy sisters. This is a paranormal romance series following 6 witch sisters who live in New Orleans and their love stories. And this is the last one, the one, again, I've been waiting for the end to see how this comes together. So these are just fun and light. The first book is called Wolf Gone Wild. Yes. So, but I did read this on ebook because it came out, the paperback I bought the next week when it was released. They didn't release at the same time. So I don't know, but I have most of the series on both ebook and physical due to at least the last couple ones that I had to buy ebook first to get in because I didn't want to wait. This is definitely a series that I was waiting for the last book in the series to come out. And, I love, Clara and Henry. Love Henry. Henry has been a character through this series that I was waiting for this book. So it was a good one to end on. There were a few things in here that were not what I wanted, or I didn't want it to quite go the way it went. I do think it wrapped up really well and wrapped up the series really well. It definitely has the whole, happy ever after vibes with all the sisters and their families and growing exponentially as the series goes on. I did enjoy this. Again, Henry is a Grimm, so he's got different kind of powers and stuff. And Clara is she's just this happy she is able to kind of an empath, I would say, is kind of what I would say. I don't know. I don't remember what she's like classified as. I don't know if we ever really get that, but I always liked her. She's just a very sunshine. He's not quite like sunshine grumpy. I just think he's more very reserved. So, but I always loved Henry, and I was glad to get, that they got together finally in this book, in the last book in the series. So I have heard that there is going to be more books, but like maybe like in the world, like as in she's built quite an interesting world because most of the books, again, most of them all take place in New Orleans. The book before this one did travel a bit, so we did get kind of some other areas. So I'm not sure how she might expand the world. I think we're done with the sisters. Like, I think this series is done that way, but I think she might revisit the world and just do it something different or with different people. I'm not sure. And we might get cameos of these. I don't know. I just heard a little rumor on her Instagram that there might be more in this world, but just not with this series. It'd be a different series, like a spin-off. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I really enjoyed this. I read it right away. I finished it, Yeah, the morning that I was starting to get sick. I think I finished it just like at lunchtime that day. So I was starting to feel bad. I finished this book because I wanted to finish it. So, and again, now I got my copies. I have the whole series, and it's definitely one I will reread in the future. I'm really excited to do that, but I'm probably gonna wait a couple years, let it fade a little bit, and then I can binge all 6 books plus the there's a 7th book that's like novellas and stuff that's halfway through the series, I think. Something like that. I think so. Anyway, so I'm excited. Anyway, so I was glad to read that. That was a surprise because I didn't know what date it was coming out. So that it appeared on my Kindle, I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to read that next. And luckily I read it before I got sick. So then, as I said, I was sick. I had started a few books. There'll be later in this stack. But I stopped reading for, I would say, almost 5 days. And so Monday night, I finally picked up a book and I read a few, like about 20, 25 pages that night, but that was really kind of a stretch and I didn't do a whole lot. And then, on Tuesday, I had a hold come in from the library. I decided I wanted to reread another, well, a lot of these are rereads. So that was the first thing I wanted to pick up when I was, after being sick. I was like, I didn't want to read any of the books that I was currently reading because of course you don't want to go back to the books you're in the middle of. Anyway, but I went and I picked up some rereads. And so one of them will be a physical one that I'll talk about in a second. But the audiobook came in from the library was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. So this was, Madeline Leslie was the narrator. I just love this on audio. It was it was great to revisit it because I read this. This was one of my favorite books of last year. So I'd read it last summer. And I mean to continue on with this series. I just haven't had a chance. But I really, really enjoyed this on the reread because I had forgotten parts of it. And it was sweeter every time I read it. There's so much stuff in here that was just so much that I just adored. So we're following Dora, who as a child was kind of attacked by the Fae, who took half of her soul. So she's been kind of, since then, her emotions have been blunted, and she's kind of seen as kind of odd because, again, she's lost half of her soul. And it's not something she can talk about because you don't tell people about this. And this is during Regency era, so you don't want to mention that there's a problem. And she and her cousin, Vanessa, go to London for the season. And they're trying to get Vanessa very well married off, well. So, and again, Vanessa is worried about her cousin because her cousin is seen as different, and she wants to get the Lord Sorcerer to help Dora, and it kind of has this twist, this kind of feeling of her cousin's trying to help her, but she's trying to help herself, but she's also like trying to help her cousin through the things of navigating the marriage mart, and I love the Lord Sorcerer. Elias just love grumpy totally, not the Doors like a grumpy sunshine. I just meant that I love the way they react to each other. And because of the way she is, she says things that not everybody would say. And it doesn't always come off the way she means it to or whatever, or she's very blunt. And I just love it. And there's a lot of side characters in here I really love, like Albert and of course Vanessa and stuff. So it has that Fae element. It has this magic element to it, but it's also like a Regency romance, but different because of the way that the two interact and the things that are going on. And I really love this book. Again, I don't know if I just kind of rambled about it, but I loved rereading it by audio this time. Again, I got it from the library. And so I just wanted to continue. I wanted to come back to it because I'd been thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I know I read it, but I wanted to revisit it. And it was just perfect timing that it came in right when I was getting back into reading after being sick. And so I did enjoy rereading that. And then, well, actually, okay, so the copy I read was the self-published version. So, but I bought the traditional published versions as well. of this book, just because I wanted to support her and stuff, because I love the book. And there is a short story in here called The Lord Sorcerer. So that is the next thing I read. It was on the audiobook as well from the library, so I listened to that as well. And it's taking it's going back in time to when the Lord Sorcerer and Albert were in the war with Napoleon and stuff. And of course it's different because there's magic involved and stuff. But we had gotten a scene of it from in here, of something from his past. And so we kind of see more of what happened. And I thought it was a really good companion to the novel. Not, you don't have to read it, but I would encourage you, if you enjoyed this, if you want to know more about Elias and Albert, I think it was really well done. And I really enjoyed that. And it just happened to be on the end, at the end of this book. And again, I didn't know that was there until the audiobook said that there was a short story. I was like, why am I not done with this book? And it was going on. Anyway, so I read both of those. So that was cool. So one was a reread, and then the next one was, I hadn't read that before. So it was only like 34 pages, so it wasn't very long, but it was a good short story. I really enjoyed it. And then the physical book that I had picked up to start rereading was Fantasy Lover by Sherilyn Kenyon. So I read these over 10 years ago, most of these books. They came up, so how I understand it is, this is like, it's connected to the Dark Hunter world, but it's Hunter Legends or something, like some subgroup. But I always figured it's 0.5 of the 0.5 of the Dark Hunter series, because these characters do pop up later, or pop up into the Dark Hunter series. It's the same world as New Orleans. We're following in this one. So this one's different though than the Dark Hunter. The Dark Hunter is way more paranormal romance, and with, vampire-ish things and gods and things. Anyway, demons. Anyway, so this one is following, I think, that's the other book. Grace. This is Grace. So Grace, is turning 29, and her best friend has psychic abilities kind of thing. So she finds this book that's supposed to be where this lover will appear if you call out his name and hold the book to your chest, and you get him for the full moon, for the span of the moon, so 28 days or whatever. And so she does it because on a drunken whim, when she's, on her birthday, and he appears out of this book. So Julian of is Macedonia, one of those countries by Greece, I can't remember how you say it. He has been trapped in the scroll for over 2,000 years, and he appears, and he's supposed to, he's this sexy guy who is, pretty much is usually forced to to have relations or sex with the woman who calls him. So but Grace has her own issues and things that happened in her past, and she is definitely, even though this book is 2002 that it came out, something close to that, maybe, I don't know if maybe it first came out in 2000, or I thought it was 2002, but I think so, yeah. So there's talk about consent, but it's kind of like in the infantile, like it's like way back, or it's a little farther back than, like, maybe it's been more of a conversation in later years. So I think it was really well done, talking about how she didn't want to, use him, even though that's, that was kind of why her friend was trying to get her to get over her issues. Anyway, so they kind of build this friendship over her trying to help him get out of the scroll, to stuff. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever. It's like, it's a magic thing. He's been sentenced, to, years, and 2,000 years in this scroll. And so it's they're building this relationship, and then they find out how to get him out, and that has a whole other problems. And there's a lot of little side plots of things going on. And this was just fun. I mean, I remember reading this when I picked this up. I don't remember, as I said, I can't remember what year I started reading these books. It was the mid 2000s, I'm sure. I'm sure there was quite a few out by the time I started the series. I have to go back and look, because I don't remember the last time I read this. I've reread this a couple of times. But anyway, so this is just fun. when we do get to it's more, this one is not more, I would say that there's not like a lot of sexy times, because really this is a building up of a friendship to lovers kind of thing, and the decisions that they make along the way. But it was really well done, and I really enjoyed it overall of revisiting this. So I just have been thinking about this series for a while, because I kept them the last time I did a purge of books last year, and I really was thinking, I'm like, do I really want to keep the books that I own? Because I think I own the first like 14 or 15 of the Dark Hunter series. And so I was like, do I want to keep them? Do I really want to read them? I don't, or am I ever going to come back to them? And at the time I didn't know, but I thought, okay, I'll wait another year. Well, I've decided to reread the series. So anyway, but that one I consider like before that, or the, 0.5. And then that same day I finished Beyond Solitude by Kit Rocha. This is the 4.5 one that I had read before. This one is following, Maya and Derek. Oh, so this was a good one, because I didn't remember reading this, even though I have it marked that I had read it. I can't remember everything. Anyway, but it was the last one I read before I got behind on the series. So again, as I said, this is 4.5. These are two people who are put to work together. And, so there's kind of that workplace dynamic in this post-apocalyptic erotica novel. Anyway, it was a good short one. I mean, it's not a favorite of mine in the series. I mean, it was fine. It was just another couple added little layer, and kind of in between the book 4 and 5 of the things. It was just kind of an interlude kind of thing. I mean, bad things happen in here too, but, these are all like very tortured souls. Things have happened to them in their past, and then, they find solace in each other. Anyway, but the point is that Solitude was pretty good. But this was the last one I had to reread before I could continue the series to move on to new stuff that I had never read before. So anyway, and then as I said, talking about Dark Hunters series, Sherilyn Kenyon's book 1 is technically Night Pleasures. So this one, as I said, it's been decades since I read it. I don't know where you already read it. So I enjoyed rereading this one following Kieran or I think that's how you say his name. And Amanda. And I remembered the first scene of this book. I remember that quite well. And I forgot how it went. And the kind of a little twist near the end that I'm like, oh, I knew that was something like that happened, but I couldn't remember for sure. So this one is more of a vampire, paranormal romance series. Again, there's like 27 books in this series. I read up to 9, I think, in this series. So, 10, I'd read 10 books total if I count Fantasy Lover. But that's where I stopped, and I don't remember, I think it's because book 10, I had trouble with that one in the beginning of that one. But anyway, we're gonna reread this series this year. I'm hoping to read at least, I want to try to get most of the books that I've read before reread so that I can continue on. My whole point is to get to book 14, which has, Asheron's book, which I was waiting for then, and I never made it. Anyway, so this one we're following Kieran, who is so I say, I don't know, it's something close to that. He is what is called a dark hunter. So he is someone who has lost their soul and has things of being a vampire, but he doesn't drink blood, and he has to be at night, and he tracks down daemons, who are kind of a form of demon, who are those who do attack humans and take their souls. And so there's great world building in this for a paranormal romance series. I think it builds as it goes from what I remember. I think there are books that I didn't like just because I didn't like some of the tropes, but that's what happens when you have a really long series. There's going to be some of them you're going to like and some not. I'd forgotten how many names get dropped in here that we're going to have books for them later. So I'd forgotten some of the stuff that I have read. So it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to picking up book 2. So again, I did reread this and enjoyed that. I just, as I said, I don't know why I did this to myself. I've restarted another series, but that's how May is going. May is going. But I did continue a series that I'm reading, books that I haven't read before. And this is book 4 in the Dante Valentine series. And this is Saint City Sinners by Lilith St. Croix. So I, late April, early May, I reread the first 2 books of this series, because those are the 2 I'd read previously 8 or 9 years ago. And so I decided to return to this one and finish the series out. So this is book 4. So I can't tell you too much about this. The first book is following Dante Valentine, who is a necromancer and also works as a bounty hunter. And she is home one day and she gets a knock at the door, and there's a demon on her doorstep saying that the devil wants to see her. So in the first book, that is how it all starts, and it just goes wrong from there. I cannot tell you how we got to where this book goes from there. The books are just, she has an imagination. I will give her that. So these are definitely books that when I read book 1 and 2 blew me away when I first read them. And I don't know why. Again, I didn't continue the series because I had it in a bind up and I hated reading that bind up and I just never came back to it. Book 3 went in directions I did not expect and was not too happy about parts of it. Then this one kind of did the same thing, except it was different. This one was definitely more, so many twists and turns of not sure who to trust. This is nobody trusts anybody in this book. And it went in directions I didn't expect. It hurt me, things that Dante has gone through on this. I think that's definitely one thing I do like about this series, is that no one is precious in this series. Let's just be honest. And she just gets hurt and everybody around her does too. It's just, and again, as I said, you can't trust anybody. I think I like this book. Well, I still think 3 is my least favorite of the series. I was thinking about that and I thought, well, maybe this one was, but no, I now that I'm thinking about it a little bit. 3, I had a lot of trouble with certain things in that one. But this one it kind of fixed some of that, and then it didn't fix some things. Anyway, I would say my only problem with this series so far is there's a little repetition of sometimes she will have a thought and then she will say it out loud. And I always get angry about that because I'm like, dude, just say it out loud. We don't need to know that she thought it first and then say it out loud. That doesn't happen quite as often in the later books. That does happen a lot in book 1. So just as a heads up. And I don't think I've mentioned that. It doesn't happen quite as much by this point. So this one ended and my jaw dropped to the floor. So, I was stunned by the ending to this one. As I said, this is book 4. There's only 5 books in the series, so I have 1 more book left. Definitely going to finish that up soon because you'll see it's in my currently reading. But anyway, I really, I can't say I enjoyed this book, but it kept me, I was like, what is going to happen? I don't know. But it's a great urban fantasy. But it's different. I wouldn't classify it as some of the urban fantasy that I like. There's a different tone to this one. So, that could be why I bought another one of her series to read after this one. Because I want to see what she does. Because she doesn't do anything I expect. Anyway, I think that's good. Sometimes it doesn't. Maybe she's hurt me a couple of times in these books. So going on. So yesterday I did start To Hell. So now we're talking about the books I'm in the middle of. So I did start To Hell and Back, which is book 5 in the Dante Valentine series. So far, I've read 100. I read 100 pages yesterday. I had to stop after that because just so much was just. This book, I think, is going to be one of those books where I might have to reread it to get everything out of it. But there's just so much going on, and I'm just like, how are we going to wrap it up in one more book? There's so many things right now going on. I'm only, 100 pages in. So I just don't know how this is going to go. And it hurts me. Poor Dante, especially after what just happened. I think this series is just fantastic in as I said, I think my biggest thing about this series is that it's different. It's not like a lot of the other urban fantasies I read. I guess I don't know how else to explain that. I think she does really good at that. So, or changing the tropes of some things. I don't expect this. And again, I don't know who to trust and what's happening. I don't know how this is gonna go. But this one, anyway. So we're working on this one. I'm hoping to read another good section of it today. I might not read a huge amount. I don't know if I could handle more than, like, as I said, I read 100 pages yesterday. And I'm like, okay. I need to put that down for a little bit. So, but I do want to finish that because I want to finish that by the end of I want to finish it this week. Finish that book. So then I'm done with that series. Now that I've bought the Jill Kismet series that's coming to me maybe by the early part of June. So maybe in a couple months I will read her other series. We will see. I have repicked up The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I did get the audiobook from the library, which was Callie Dalton, and it was a great audiobook. I re-listened, so I'd read up to page 74, and then I put this down back in February. When I did this for try a chapter and it won, but I hadn't finished it. I have to be in the right mood for contemporary. And obviously this weekend I was, because I listened to the audiobook. I got past where I had read the 74 pages, but then I found that I didn't want to listen to it. It was, okay. So I do not read contemporary romances very much. And again, okay, let me go back. So everybody knows about this one probably, but we're following Olive, a PhD student who has a lot of things going on about stuff she wants to do with her program and stuff. But her best friend is attracted to a guy that Olive had slightly dated. It didn't go so well. And to make her friend think that she is over him and that her friend can go for this other guy, the girl doesn't want to break the girl code, she just grabs a guy at the lab and kisses him, and it turns out to be one of the tenure professors, Dr. Adam Carlson. So then she's forced into a fake dating. Well, they're both forced into a fake dating situation, and I am laughing. I'm really enjoying this for that. It's just I laugh. It's just so relatable, not the fake dating part, but the thoughts that she has, and that everything just goes wrong and wrong and wrong of things that happen. Anyway, so but I was finding it really hard to listen to it. Not because, again, the audiobook was fantastic. I think a lot of people who like to listen to rom-coms would definitely like it on audio. I just have a cringe factor when it comes to contemporary romances. And as you know, I barely read them anymore. I used to read them about 20 years ago. I read a lot, like a whole bunch of them, and I kind of got out of it after that. And I've always done either historical or something with a paranormal element in my romance. That's just what I like. But I've really enjoyed this one. So I've picked it up a little bit and read. I'm about 150 pages in now. So I'm definitely farther in than I was. So I've read about another section. So I am going to try to read this in between some other things, because right now I'm just reading a lot of books, but for some reason my mind is saying switch books. I don't do this very often, but every once in a while I just need to move things around and kind of read more books at one time than I should. But I want to finish everything by the end of May. So I'm going to read at least a chapter or two, probably 2 chapters a day, to try to get this done by the end of the week. If not before the end of May. Because I am enjoying it. I can only handle so much at one time. And I gave the audiobook back to my library because other people were waiting for it. And I just had decided that I'm going to read it physically. Because last night I read about 50 pages physically. So I think or 40 pages. Anyway, so I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to read a little bit here and there and see how this goes. What's really funny is because I started reading this again, I did buy another contemporary romance to try, and I'm not sure why I did. It called to me when I went to Barnes & Noble the other day, and or yesterday. No, Friday. I went Friday because I had the day off. I took a vacation day on Friday, so I only worked 4 days this week after being sick. But I'm glad I took the Friday because I did a lot of stuff that I wanted to do. One of them, anyway. So I'm not going to go into a full contemporary romance mood, but I think I might try to slip some in again that I want to try. I do have a lot of kind of witchy ones that I want to read. I need to get to too, but anyway. I did start on audio To Marry a Scottish Laird by Lindsay Sands. So this is book 2 in the Highland Brides series. So I have not read this one before. This is again one of the ones where I think I'm going to return the library book, or maybe I did return the audiobook. He was a good narrator, which I can't think of what his name is right now. I forgot to write it down because I think I returned it. But I've decided to read it physically. Again, this is another kind of cringe factor one where it's easier for me to kind of read it quickly, rather than listen to it and kind of cringe. And the scene that I stopped at, I was like, okay, I just need to read that. I don't think I want to listen to that. So I'm only 74 pages in. So I have like 300 pages left of this book. So this is historical romance. We are following Joan, who when her mother was dying, gives her a scroll that she's supposed to take from England. She's in England and she's supposed to go to Scotland to the Mackays. And I think that's the Mackays. And so she has dressed up as a boy and is traveling, trying to get there. She is attacked by robbers, and Cam, who is from a different clan, who happened to be coming back from doing other stuff. He saves her, but then he is injured, and so she's a healer, so she takes care of him, and then they are traveling together because it turns out that the clan that she wants to talk to is one of his neighbors, so they are on good terms. So but he discovers that that Joe, or Jonas, is actually a girl, Joan, and they get kind of sexy here at where I stopped. So I don't know how this is gonna go. So because I don't know what's on this scroll that's gonna affect her life, how he's gonna react whenever they get there. I don't know. They're traveling right now, and again, she is funny historical romance where things happen, like she fell out of a tree. Knocked herself out because she was trying to get a pheasant, and it just goes wrong. So it's like it has that Highland, romance, or historical fiction part of it, or fantasy, or sorry, historical romance part of it. But then she always is funny. They're just goofy and things happen. It's just funny. So anyway, so I'm going to continue this. I just think it's going to be physical. I don't know if I'm going to pick it up right away again. But again, it's the Highland Bride series. I think there's 11 books out, I think. I own like 10 of them that I bought last year on a whim to get back into this series. So I do want to read as many of these this year as I can. So hopefully I will get to that at some point. We'll try to intermix that. And then the other book that I'm in the middle of, because I gave back those 2 library audiobooks, as Beyond Addiction by Kit Rocha. Again, this is done by Lucy Malone. This is book 5, so this is new to me. This is all new territory, and we're following Finn and Trix, who, this is a second chance romance that has to do with people who were in one of the sectors in this post-apocalyptic world where drugs are very prevalent. And he was pretty much an enforcer and a kind of a dealer in some way. And she had gotten away 4 years before, faked her own death kind of thing, after some bad things happened. And so they had been together, but, he thought she died. And she actually went to Sector 4 and, established herself there and became one of the O'Kanes. So this is him. After certain things happened in the beginning of the book, they are now in Sector 4, and they're as I said, they're getting back together, but it's also dealing with stuff in the past and trying to move forward. And there's, again, big machinations that are starting to roll, because this is the midway point through the series. This is book 5 of 9. So, things are happening that I'm curious to see where it's going. I'm about halfway. yeah, I'm just over halfway. So, I'll probably finish this in the next couple days. I think I have like 3.5 hours left of audio left. So probably tomorrow I'll finish this at work or on the way home or something. But anyway, so I am continuing this series as well. So anyway, and then the other thing that I started that I wanted to read is The Sandman by Neil Gaiman. And this is book 1 that I got from my library, which is a bind up of 20 issues. So I don't know how many of the other bind ups there are, but there's supposed to be, I think, 6 of them that are this size. I don't think all of them are out yet. I think the last ones, or maybe there's more. Maybe there's more than that. I don't know, but these I might buy these. So I've only read the first issue. So I read the preludes and whatever the first bind up was, the first 4 or 5 issues. I read that many years ago. I would say probably 10-15 years ago. And I didn't continue on because I didn't have them, at the library at the time that I picked it up. And so I never got back to it. And so I think now I'm more ready for this than I was at that time. So again, I said, I liked the first section, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to try to read at least probably 1 or 2 the next, or is more if I can, but I want at least, I have this for another 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, I think I have this for another 2 weeks. So I might have to split it up to make sure I read, some days I read 2 and some I just read 1. But I'm going to try to read this to get this done before it is due back. And then I've already reserved book 2 for the next section, just in case, because again, it wasn't available. I'm on a wait list. So we'll see what happens. Again, Sandman is all I know about this so far. It has to do with, kind of a mythology of some sort, where we're following Death's little brother. And I think it has to do with dreams and stuff. So I'm not, I actually, as I said, it's early on, so I don't know all the terminologies. I just know, there's Netflix adaptation. This is something I've known about for many years and just never got to. I tried to read it once and just didn't get far enough into it to really understand what's going on. So it's really beautiful, picture the art and stuff, and it's weird already. So I'm going to try to read that, as I said, over the, I don't know. I might not have it for 2 weeks now that I think about it. I don't know. When I got sick, I got confused what books I have. I'll have to check. I might just have this for another week. So I might have to read more than I think I'm going to. We'll see. And then, so that's all the stuff that I read and then what I'm in the middle of right now. And what I think I'm going to pick up next. So as I said, I'm going to focus on getting done Beyond Addiction and To Hell and Back. Those are the 2 I'm probably going to finish probably in the next couple days. Those are the 2. The other, Love Hypothesis, To Marry a Scottish Laird, and The Sandman, I'm probably going to read here and there. I'm not planning those to be, that I'm rushing for those. Anyway, I'm not. 2 of those are books I own, so it's not like I have to. I might pick up book 2 in the Dark Hunter series, which is Night Embrace, which we follow Talon and Sunshine. So I only remember vague things about this one. I remember them when we were introduced to them in Fantasy Lover and Night Pleasures. I remembered them and I remembered they got together, but I can't remember anything else about the story. And I'm not going to look at it because I'm just going to go into it. So this is, again, another paranormal romance, continuing the Night Hunter series. So to reread that. And then, so I might pick that up next. It matters how I feel after To Hell and Back. Because it matters if I feel like I want to escape this from like something I've read before. So I could do that. Or I might try to read The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Because this is like everywhere. Everybody's talking about this. So I bought this just before it kind of blew up. I saw a couple people read it. And then I was like, okay, I got that one. And then everybody's been talking about it in late April and early May, and then of course I got sick. So when this was gonna be my birthday book. This is the book I was gonna start on my birthday. My birthday was last week or on the 16th, and So I didn't go out or do anything for my birthday because I was still feeling kind of off. But, you know, I survived. Anyway, point is, and so this was supposed to be read this last week, and again, I didn't get a chance to, and I went full rereading mode. So I might pick this up. We'll see. It just depends on when I get other stuff done. I also, later this week, is the 72 Hours in the Smut Den, put on by Covers with Cassidy, Melanor Reads, and Rise Reading Corner. Anyway, I'll have them linked down below. At least one of their announcement videos for this is like 72 hours of reading smut books or books that have at least some smut in them. I think I'm going to do a Pile of Possibilities video. Maybe we'll see. I'm going to try to put something together. I don't have anything else planned for this week. But that starts on Thursday, the 25th. It's supposed to be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm Pacific, so mine will start at 4. But I have Friday off for the Memorial Day weekend. So it goes Thursday night to Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon for me. It'll be 4 o'clock. So, but I figure I'm going to be off for a lot of that time. So I thought, well, I might as well do it. And I have so many books that I would consider, that I'm obviously reading a lot of them with reading the Beyond series right now, and the Sherilyn Kenyon books too. So it's like, I might as well just do that. So I'm going to try to do the whole, we'll see what I can get read. I have Kindle Unlimited right now. I did sign up for that for the next 3 months to maybe have some shorter things. So if you guys have any short smutty books that you think I should read that are paranormal of some sort, because those are the ones I enjoy, something, you know, demons, vampires, werewolves, anything that you think is good, let me know. As I said, I'll put up a video of some of my options of what I might pick, because again, you have to spin this wheel to see what book you pick, and I don't know if anything's mine's gonna pick. Now again, if I can pick everything from the Beyond series and try to finish that out, I might, but I don't know if I can read that many in 72 hours, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I think that's it. That's everything. This is, again, I told you it was gonna be a long video because it's over 2 weeks and a lot of stuff that I went through. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know how your guys' reading is doing. And anyway, I think that's it. Cooper and I will see you later. Bye.